So Kitco News went down to Sinaloa, Mexico the other week. We went to go check out the El Gallo project. That's McEwen Mining's latest gold project. We have some great footage from the mine. But before we get to that, I have Brent Cook joining me on the line now. He's a famed geologist and editor of Exploration Insights, and he joins me from Vancouver. Brent, let's talk mining for 2013.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad to be on the show with you again.
Brent, so I know you're in Vancouver now covering some of the bigger mining shows, including Roundup. And as we all know, PDAC is around the corner, will be taking place in March in Toronto. But what's the sentiment you're getting right now at these shows for mining in general?
What is clear is that money, free cash flow, profit, revenue, that is what's really driving the major miners right now, and what they're all focusing on. And what that's going to trickle down to is that there's much less money going to be coming into the juniors. Premiums for acquisitions are not going to be what they used to be. And it's going to be a tough year in that respect.
Brent, so you mentioned less money for the juniors, but aren't they already suffering on that front? How low could they go?
We'll see. I think they can go a lot lower. What I'm not seeing is where the new money is going to come into the sector from. We've had two big years in 2009, 2010, 2011. The money started to dry up. And 2012 coming into 13, there's no real new money coming into the sector. Admittedly, there's a lot sitting on the sidelines, but this is a very high-risk sector, the junior side of things. And the risk on trade, if you will, is just not happening. So I don't see where the new money's coming in general. Certainly there's going to be enough money for a company with legitimate discoveries, legitimate targets, good management, and a well-structured company. There'll be money for that, but in general, we're going to see by the end of the next 6 months, a lot of companies just going away in the junior side.
Brent, thanks for joining me. We'll see you in Toronto. For everyone else, I'm going to leave you with footage from the El Gallo project. It was my first mine tour, and I have to say I learned a lot from it, and I hope you enjoyed as well. So our day started off at 4 a.m., and coffee tastes even sweeter at that time. We're headed to Toronto's Pearson Airport and minus 10 conditions Celsius, that's 14 Fahrenheit, folks, and headed to Sinaloa, Mexico to check out McEwen Mining's El Gallo project. With us on this trip were analysts, other media, and of course the entire McEwen clan. So after the captain informed us that the flight time was approximately 6 hours, I decided to brush up on some of my Mexican mining history and learned that the history of commercial mining in Mexico dates back at least over 500 years. Today, Mexico continues to stand as one of the world's largest producers of several minerals. From the surface, Sinaloa is a green and welcoming state, and it's hard to believe that it is the same state plagued by reports of widespread violence, mainly related to fighting among rivaling drug cartels. But Sinaloa is an interesting place to invest for those looking to get past issues of widespread violence. Here are some facts. The symbol of Sinaloa is the tomato. In fact, it is coined the farm state of Mexico. It's accountable for 30% of all food produced in the country. But besides tomatoes, it's also aiming to become the golden darling of Mexico. And Sinaloa's government is receptive to foreign companies looking to mine, offering financing and tax incentives and low labor costs. Hence the presence of McEwen Mining, Endeavour Silver, and Scorpio Mining, to name a few. It's not uncommon for local communities to not be receptive to mining companies moving in, often causing obstacles and delays and even derailing projects. But the day we arrived, this seemed anything but the case. Some 1,000 locals were on hand for the inauguration of the El Gallo Phase 1. State Governor Mario Lopez Valdez stated his support for McEwen Mining that day and its presence in Sinaloa.
Governor, when you look around and see everyone that came out today, what do you feel? When you look at gold now, does it represent something differently for you now?
Me da alegría que empresas de Canadá sientan confianza en México y confianza en Sinaloa. Me da alegría que los precios en el mercado internacional de los metales se hayan recuperado. Me da alegría que 400 sinaloenses tengan trabajo.
McEwen adopted this project back in 2007, and since then it has invested $3 million in the surrounding communities. This includes building and paving roads, developing water wells, improving healthcare services, and providing schools with educational materials. The El Gallo project overall is supposedly due to create 250 direct jobs and a further 450 indirect jobs through partnerships with regional and international contractors and businesses. But now let's take a closer look at McEwen Mining's empire. Its assets include the San Jose mine in Santa Cruz, Argentina, the Los Azules project in San Juan, Argentina, the El Gallo complex in Sinaloa, Mexico, of course, and the Gold Bar project in Nevada. The question is, can his Midas touch be repeated? Have you struck gold again?
And silver, right here.
Your name is synonymous with the Midas touch. You've built a name for yourself in the mining industry. How do you know? How do you know where to mine?
Mother Nature's been a good friend, and we try to treat her nicely.
The El Gallo Phase 1 is currently forecast to produce approximately 30,000 ounces of gold annually for 8 years at $800 an ounce. Ian, what is this mammoth behind us right now?
What we're looking at right here is one of our 100-ton haul trucks here in Mexico for our Phase 1 operation. This is one of 5 of our largest trucks. We have several smaller ones, but you're looking at the largest we have in the fleet.
McEwen started commercial production at El Gallo Phase 1 back on January 1st of this year. In September, the company announced that it had poured its first bar of gold at the mine. Since that first pour, the mine has been steadily increasing mine crusher and leaching production and is now operating at 90% of the design capacity. So now we're at the crushing phase, and for those of us new to mining, can you explain a little bit what's happening behind us right now?
Well, when you mine the rock out of the pit, you get these big boulders, and you have to reduce the size. So we go through 3 stages where we try to take this big rock down to a small piece of rubble, 3/8 of an inch.
Wow, and you need all this machinery to bring this to this.
Correct, and then we process it later on.
Excellent. The Phase 2 expansion of El Gallo is scheduled for mid-2014, resulting in annual average production of around 5.2 million ounces of silver for at least another 6.5 years at a cost of $10 an ounce. This should all translate into approximately 180,000 whopping ounces of gold. That's combined from all the producing facilities in 2014. As for the capex involved for building out El Gallo Phase 2, McEwen Mining says it's around $180 million. They're basing these estimates on similar builds in comparable locations. So with $68 million in the bank now, McEwen is likely to need additional funding and support. So how do they go about raising more capital? Well, McEwen has said in past interviews that he may sell the Los Azules copper project in Argentina to do so. But wait a second, before we go, what about McEwen's infamous statement of gold? Where does he see the price headed now?
5,000.